everyone, it's Tis Gambacorta here from 8020 Research, and today I am so excited, so pumped, because what we're going to talk about is something that is like super hot in the market. It's something that you should definitely look into. And to that end, I've got Josh Ridet, who is the CEO of one of the UK's largest mining rig companies. So Josh, very excited to have you here. Thank you.
Hello everybody. It's nice to be with you here today. So hopefully I can try and answer some of your questions and help you all get a really good understanding of what mining is and how profitable it can be.
Absolutely. And by the way, it's quite late here in the UK. Most people would have left the office, would be chilling out at home with their families, and yet here we are. And thanks for making the time to everyone who's watching this. We've got some amazing stuff to cover today. So mining, crypto mining. So what is crypto mining, Josh?
Crypto mining is basically, it's kind of, well, there's lots of kind of ways to look at it. You can kind of go really technical and kind of see what the deep details are, but a lot of people just want to kind of get a good understanding of what it is. And effectively, the kind of way that sometimes I like to explain it to customers is, all this kind of cryptocurrency stuff, the word decentralized is kind of bandied around a lot. And it's important that people understand what that is. So the best way to kind of explain it is if you think of Amazon or Microsoft or one of these big online companies, if you do, or Google even, if you do a Google search, you can understand that somewhere in America or somewhere around the world, they've got huge warehouses of computers that do all the number crunching and then pop out all the search results at the end of it. Or Amazon have a warehouse of computers that pops out your product that gets delivered the next day. We understand lots of computer power is needed to do that. And in cryptocurrency in general, there is no Bitcoin company warehouse or some Ethereum company warehouse, or that power to make all that transaction happen isn't centralized. It's decentralized, and it means guys like me and you guys who have rigs, that power is split all around the world, and the machines that we have, these mining machines, effectively upkeep that network. So if I want to send you some Ethereum, it's my machines that process all those transactions. If I want to send you some Monero or some, one of any of the mineable coins, the Zcash, Zencash, or all the lot, it's these machines that mine those coins. So mining is effectively a tokenized reward for upkeeping and providing power to that network. And it essentially does that by solving lots of very complex math problems through something called a proof of work mechanism. So lots of complicated maths that goes on underneath it, but you don't really need to get too worried about that. On the surface, what you end up with is a machine that you leave on that you can mine a certain coin with, and as a little thank you for helping process those transactions, you get rewarded with a bit of coin, which is worth quite a lot of money, and that's how you're able to earn some really nice money just from leaving a machine switched on.
So that, you mentioned Amazon servers, that's something that would be outside of most people's reach, right? We all use that technology, yet, there's no clear, there's hardly any case for any of us to have an Amazon server of some description lying around, right? So I guess the question is, we all understand the power of technology, no one's, really making a big deal out of, the Amazon computing power, even though it powers, so many of their logistics. Why would someone want to get involved with mining? Why is it such a hot thing now?
It really depends on what side of the fence you're on. There's a lot of people that want to get into mining because they like, providing power to this decentralized network. The whole ethos of cryptocurrency is kind of power to the people, kind of taking it away from the big players and kind of putting the power back in people's hands. So people really like the element of, kind of taking that control. Other people, quite frankly, are just in it for the money. It's very profitable to be involved in right now. And there's so many misconceptions about mining, that no doubt we'll get through as the interview goes forward. But a lot of people are very concerned about things like power or it not being that profitable, or, can I do it in my country? The electric's expensive, or, what about, Ethereum's moving to proof of stake? How's that going to affect me? There's a lot of these questions which on the surface might seem like big problems, but if you really understand what's going on, it's really just not an issue. I mean, mining is a fantastic thing that's here to stay, and hopefully I can share some of that excitement with some of your viewers today.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're saying that, okay, some people would get into mining out of, goodwill and contributing to the decentralized blockchain. Some people will do it for the money. So how exactly does mining work? I get it that, there are computers and, we're all solving complex mathematical problems, but okay, practically, how does this work? I see a lot of what look like computers or rigs behind you. So yeah, tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I mean, as you can see behind me, these are all some of the rigs we've got in the sales office. So, one of the kind of key features of my company is, cryptocurrency can be, sometimes a little bit inhuman. It's all online. You see all these big cloud mining companies in other countries, and a lot of the time people pay a lot of money and kind of trust these companies with a lot of stuff. One of the things we do differently here at Easy Crypto Hunter is have a real office in Manchester, where people can actually come and see us, meet the team, and get their hands on some equipment in person, which I feel is something really important in the industry that can sometimes be a little bit, by its nature, intangible. So it's nice to add that reality to it. So the rigs here behind me, you can see, some top-end 6-card 1080 Ti bits of equipment. So how does it work technically? I mean, we actually have, I can move this around to give you guys a little bit of a better view. This is a bit of a view that you've got here of the graphics cards set up that I'm kind of running now. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that there. But this is a nice little walkthrough of a 6-card 1080 Ti setup. So you've got the 6 cards on the top and then all the components under the bottom. So each one of these is top-end computer graphics cards, and that's fundamentally why we're able to do what we do. Those graphic cards are very powerful bits of equipment that are good at computing algorithms, which just so happen to be very good for processing the cryptocurrency payments that we know that mining is used for.
Awesome. Okay, so practically, so I get it, I need a computer, right? And so how can, the average person like me, say, get involved in mining?
I mean, you still can, if you have a half-decent graphics card in your computer, you can just download something like NiceHash, which is free to use, and you can probably earn a few dollars a day. If you're lucky, maybe $1 or $2 a day, just by leaving your computer on overnight, mining crypto. That is effectively a very simple version of how these computers work. One of those graphics cards you just saw is designed primarily for top-end computer gaming. So a lot of people will have products not too dissimilar to that in their computer already. All that we do is kind of enhance that and multiply it and make the whole process much more powerful and much more profitable.
Got it. So do I need to be kind of, a technical person and have all these, rigs behind me or around me, or how feasible is it for an average person who wants to get into mining, who wants to get into cryptos, making more than a few bucks a day, right? So let's say, I've got 10 grand or 100 grand to invest in cryptos, how can I get involved in mining, and what can I expect as a return?
Fundamentally, that's, again, why I set up the company. It's building one of these things. It's not very easy. Yes, in theory, all the stuff's on YouTube. You could go and try to teach yourself how to build one. But, putting together a normal computer for the average person is way above what they're able to do. So, getting something like this put together is generally technologically above what most people are capable of. So for all you can do it, one, you kind of need to understand the knowledge of how to do it. That's quite difficult. And then two, which is virtually impossible at this point in the market, is getting your hands on the components. I mean, I'm sure, as things stand at the moment, everyone's aware of the GPU shortages. You cannot pick up any of these cards anywhere. The only reason I'm able to do what I do is because I've got special contacts within the industry due to the size of the company. It's not something that you can now do. I know particularly within the UK, you can't go into a retail store and buy more than one card per customer. And even then, you're paying close to £1,000 for a 1080 Ti. So for all, in theory, yes, you could build one yourself. By the time you've bought one off the shelf from someone like me, it might take you 3 months to build one in the current market. Whereas you can come to someone like me, pick it up off the shelf, take it home the same day, if we've got stock, of course, and then you can be mining from day one. So ultimately, that's a service that we're able to offer to customers, which is kind of cool.
So, okay, so in terms of, investments and returns, right? So you need to buy the kit. I get that. What else do you need to get involved?
Nothing. The rig you've just seen is its own computer. It runs Windows 10. It's got a motherboard on there, so you can plug in a monitor and a mouse and a keyboard, just like you'd expect a normal computer to be. It's literally an all-in-one solution. So we install that with some auto-mine software. So instead of you having to worry about which coins to mine, because obviously the beauty of GPU mining is it can mine all the mineable coins, apart from those on an ASIC algorithm, of course, you're able to mine, over 100 different coins as this video stands at the moment, and there's more coming out every day. So instead of you having to worry about which is the most profitable, you can actually just download, it already comes installed with our rigs, some auto-mine software, which I mentioned before, called NiceHash, and it automatically scans the market and mines the most profitable coin. And then instead of having 10 different wallets for the 10 different coins you've mined that day, it just translates all of that and pays you in Bitcoin. So it's a really nice, easy mechanism. So when someone buys a rig from us, everything is entirely auto. I mean, you literally take it home, plug it into the plug socket, plug in your internet connection, turn it on, and that's it, mining. So we make a very, very hands-free, simple approach for all our customers due to the nature of it being quite a complex industry. We want to kind of push that decentralization, and putting power back in people's hands. And the way we do that is to make it super simple for people to just buy one, take one home, turn it on, and earn some money.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got the kit, and also I understand that, there's a big element of this is the cost of power, right? So how does that work?
Yeah, see, you think it's a big cost, but it's not. Okay. That's one of the massive misconceptions. So we're based in Manchester, in the UK, of course, where everybody thinks power is really expensive. And yes, it is twice the price of some other countries in the world. However, based on all the figures I'm about to give you, are kind of based on the last quarter, so the last 4 months, which at this time the interview is going out is a very good time in crypto because we've had really high highs and also had quite substantial lows as well. So it's quite a good 4-month period to give you good averages from. The price of the market is one thing, but in regards to the power, your original question, one of these rigs is running on full tilt and it only runs on 1300 watts of power. So to put that in perspective, a hairdryer is about 2000 watts and a vacuum cleaner could be 2500 watts. So actually, to have this thing running all day in the UK is maybe around £3.50 a day. So over a month, you may be looking at £130 a month for a domestic UK customer. A little bit cheaper if you can get that through your business and get that back. But fundamentally, it's really not that much. £130 a month, on average, again, over the last quarter, has only roughly been between 8 to 12% of your monthly profits. So it's actually a very small proportion of your total expenditure. What people fail to realize is the profitability of these rigs. And everyone goes on about mining in other countries. Yes, the electric's half the price, but 90% of the money that you're earning is ultimately dictated by the market rather than the electric. So you might be able to go, overseas to another country, but then you've got, other factors to consider, such as the import and tax duty of those products, maybe a poorer infrastructure where the electrical grid's not as good, so you can't draw as much power consistently. And then, business implications of setting up companies overseas, and then obviously other things such as insurance. All of those things are very, very easy within the UK. And I actually sell large-scale crypto containers and large-scale mining farms. And our advice for customers is that unless you're spending more than 5 million, looking overseas is actually not a good use of time. There's actually a lot of things you can do within the UK where you can generate power at very, very competitive rates at that type of scale. But even still, electric isn't a big cost. Like I said, between 8 to 15% of monthly income. So, if you have a rig that can be making you over £1,000 a month, you're quite happy to pay £130 a month in electric.
So, okay, so essentially, are we saying that one of the rigs that you just showed us is making, say, roughly £1,000 a month?
So on average over the last quarter, so this takes into account obviously the big boom we had in January and obviously the lows that we're seeing currently as this video is filmed. On average, the highs and the lows together, we've seen roughly around £30 per day per rig, which is kind of what we've seen on average. Sometimes it's been as high as £60, £70 a day. Sometimes at the moment, like today, for example, when the markets are a little bit funny, and in a bit of downturn, we're seeing as low as maybe £12 to £15 a day. So on average, that's kind of where it's been. It's kind of sat somewhere in the middle of that.
Okay, so for sake of kind of easy math, I'm going to say that, a rig on an average month is going to make £1,000. Okay, I'm rounding up, I get it. So out of that, we take away £130 for cost of electricity. Then obviously there's the cost of the hardware itself. Are there any other costs?
No. That's it. Which is why it's such an attractive investment for a lot of people. A lot of my customers are property developers or business investors. So typically property developers are my big customers because they're used to having tenants and rent and property and that type of thing, where you get a lot of human factors. You've got people that damage the house, you've got tenants that don't pay, you've got kind of the legals, and ultimately if you run a quite successful property rental business, you might get maybe, if you're very lucky, 8% yield per year.
Absolutely, yeah, at best. I invest in a lot of real estate here in the UK, and I mean, especially in London where property prices are easily
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, 8% is luxury.
8% is very high, yeah. So if you spend £100,000 into property and you get 8% yield a year, you're doing very, very well. If you spend £100,000 on my equipment, there's a very realistic chance you might be getting 8% per month, which is a totally different ballgame. And obviously that's in regards to what the prices of the coins are now. So obviously everyone's hoping crypto is going to do much better in the future, but fundamentally, even right now, if the prices remain static, that's still a very, very nice return. And one of the things that people again forget to factor in is the asset value of the equipment that you own. So typically, a lot of the guys and girls watching this might be thinking of Ethereum mining. They might be thinking of the RX AMD cards. They might be thinking, oh, there's going to be loads of them that flood the market. The prices, there's going to be no resale value in these. And to some extent, that might be true on that side of the fence. But what we work with here is the top-end gear. We use 1080 Ti's. Now, I don't expect a lot of your audience to kind of understand, quite how that is, but it's essentially the single highest power, most powerful graphics card on the market. It's the only card on the market at the moment that you can play games in on your computer in 4K. It's a very, very powerful card, and it will remain being a very, very powerful card for a long time to come. So that being said, the retail value and the asset value of that holds very, very strong. In fact, the way the market's been over the past 4 months, I've actually had customers who bought equipment off me 4 months ago, have made £5,000 or £6,000 profit in mining, and then have decided to sell their equipment and actually made £2,000 profit after they've had it for that amount of time. Just because right now we're in a very strange period where the value of the stuff's going up and up and up. Now, I don't suggest for a minute that might be the case in 12 months' time. Of course, there's going to be some natural depreciation as things move along. But the point is that, on our kind of website, as I'm sure some of you guys will end up having a look at, the numbers kind of look like this. So a £10,000 rig, which is 8,333 ex-VAT, which is one of these 6-card 1080 Ti rigs, we estimate on average a 3-step ROI program. So step 1 is effectively money in versus money out. So your £8,333 versus your average of about £30-odd a day. It works out roughly somewhere around 208-day kind of number. So that's step 1, which is what we call a black.
I'll have to stop you there for a second. So it works out to an average of 200 and something a day. What exactly do you mean?
No, sorry, 208 days return on investment. So
that means that within 208 days, the machine would have paid back itself, and anything after that is good.
Yeah, effectively. Yeah, so that's step 1. So we call that black and white ROI, so money out versus average money in. But it gets much better than that, because within that equation, you need to factor in the asset value of the equipment that you hold, because at any period within that 12 months, you could sell the equipment. That's still very valuable, even entirely outside of crypto mining. And it's very important people understand that, because unlike ASIC mining, which is a different type of mining entirely, the old versions of the Ant miners, everyone's talking now about the S9 miner being the best Bitcoin miner, which is true, but no one's talking about the S7s or the S8s, because they're literally trash. You don't have that same issue in the GPU market, because things move very differently. So we factored that in at our prices at around a £4,000 resale value in 12 months' time, which is quite conservative, to be honest. So that kind of brings your true return on investment down to around 108 days is kind of how we've estimated that.
And so that's the second step. So we've got step one, which is, the hardcore return on investment, as if you just run the machine, how much it's generating you versus how much it's costing you every day. Step two is then the resale value of the equipment. And you mentioned step three?
Yeah, so step three is obviously dependent upon the market. So because this is an altcoin miner, those numbers that we've given you, 1 and 2, are based on a static figure of around £30 a day is what that's based on. Now, obviously, that can change. We can't guarantee anything. This is crypto. But on an average, that would be where those numbers go. But on the third step, obviously, if we believe in crypto and we've seen what it did last year, this machine earns you more money dependent upon the coin's prices. So if the coin prices increase, it earns you more money each day. So, that being said, we've actually had some customers that have gotten a kind of ROI in kind of about just under 3 months, around that 110-day period, because they were mining from, September, August last year, and did very well on the upswing of the coins that they'd already earned. Because if the altcoin prices go up, you earn more per day. And if you're using the AutoMine software and that's paying you in Bitcoin, the Bitcoin that you've previously earned also then goes up, as that's been in the past as well. So just to kind of put those numbers in perspective, if you would have bought one of these machines off me exactly 12 months ago today, depending on how you would have done it and where your coins would have been and so forth, you would have roughly earned about £90,000 profit, and still today have a rig that's worth more than it would have been 12 months ago, which is pretty incredible.
That's huge. That is incredible. Okay, a couple of things is we've kind of been giving numbers in British pounds so far. For those who are in the US, in Canada, in Australia, and other parts of the world, how do those numbers translate?
They can just obviously do some quick conversions. So, you're basically looking at about $12,000 as a £10,000 mark. And then I think, Australian dollars is a little bit different. It's a little bit more expensive over there. But again, one of the great things about being in the UK is the way the tax laws work. So for me, if I export any products to places like America, New Zealand, Canada, Australia, I don't need to charge those customers VAT, which in the UK is something called value-added tax. It's a 20% tax the government charge on all business-to-business services in the UK. So ultimately, if I send them products out of the country, I don't need to charge that to customers, which effectively means I can sell my own equipment to people in different countries cheaper than I can sell it within the UK to the average person on the street, which is quite cool.
Awesome. Amazing. Okay. Excellent. That's amazing for those who are based outside of the UK, unlike us. Also, you were kind of mentioning, step 3, it's the value of all the coins appreciating. How, as far as kind of the long-term investment in this goes, how correlated do you see the altcoins that you're mining? How correlated do you see them with overall Bitcoin prices?
Yeah. So I've given you the last kind of quarter as a kind of rough indication, but the 3 months before then, so kind of September, November, December, we actually saw a very steady increase in the average earning of the machine. It kind of went from about $16 up to 20, 25, 30. Up to around $40 in December. As the market kind of slowly rose over that period, we saw a doubling and then towards a tripling of earnings within January. So it is very highly correlated to the market, but the beauty of having a machine that can mine all the coins is that if any one coin is doing very well, you can mine that and kind of jump around between what you're able to mine. So it's not like if one coin takes a hit, you're in trouble. You've got to, you know, such as if you've got an ASIC machine and, you know, if Bitcoin takes a tumble, you're only mining Bitcoin. With the altcoin miners that we provide here, you're able to kind of jump around and have a bit more flexibility and versatility. And that's what makes it, you know, one of the reasons why it makes it quite an attractive proposition.
Awesome. I have to ask this. It looks like an amazing investment opportunity. In your opinion, how does mining compare with outright, you know, buying of Bitcoin and coins?
It's difficult to compare because they're two very different propositions. So on one hand, say you've got £100,000 to spend. Yes, you could just go and buy £100,000 of a coin and cross your fingers and hope it goes up. And obviously, I and you and probably a lot of your audience believe it will do, and you'll probably make a lot of money doing that. That's true. But my advice, I mean, obviously I would say this, it's, you know, it's my company, it's what I do, but my advice from understanding the industry as I do is if I only had, well, not only £100,000 a lot of money or 10,000 or however much, but if I had a pot of money that I wanted to spend in crypto, due to the nature of crypto, with it being extremely volatile and extremely uncertain, I would want to put that money in a place that at least gives me some type of certainty. So with that, I usually advise my customers to spend that £100,000 on equipment, and then even if the crypto bubble was to pop and the curtains were to close and the whole thing was to fall down around us, which I don't believe for a second it will, but if the worst case happened and that was the case, at least a large proportion of that money is going to be very safe in the top-end equipment that you could always just resell for its original purpose. So that's 100%. One side of it. And then the second side of it is there's a very interesting thing that happens. There's so many new coins coming out, so many small coins coming out all the time that, you know, a lot of your audience will know that's where you can make some really, really big money. These smaller coins that just kind of go crazy, you know, and have 100 times gain in a month or something silly. Now, a lot of the time, it's psychologically very difficult to pull money out of your own pocket and invest in those smaller coins you don't have a lot of confidence in. So typically people that are putting money into the market are investing in the bigger, more stable coins. So we find something really interesting with our customers. So if you spend that £100,000 on equipment and all of a sudden you're earning anywhere between £5,000 to £15,000 a month in crypto, you effectively then have free spins at the casino. You have machines which are pumping out this crypto all the time, and we then find a second effect of that is that people trade very, very aggressively because they don't mind, because they've got machines pumping it out. So we found our customers doing very, very well indeed trading on the backside of a purchase of equipment.
With the coins that have been mined by the rig.
Yeah, because they feel they can be a bit more careless about it because they know they're going to be making some more. And it changes the psychology of the investment a little bit, which is something that not a lot of people talk about, but is a reality of certainly my experience with my customers.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, having traded myself for 13 years, not just cryptos, but a lot of other markets, yeah, I mean, obviously, discipline and mindset make all the difference. Second question, I have to ask this, you know, amazing business proposition, love it. You know, what are the risks? What are the downsides?
It's difficult for me to kind of stand here and, you know, give all the amazing things. And, you know, I'm sure you are, as a lot of your audience might be thinking, you know, well, it all sounds a bit too good to be true, Josh. What's the big problem? And this is where it gets very difficult because the honest truth is your risk, your exposure really, really is very, very small. So say, for example, you buy a £10,000 machine off me today. By the time you get your VAT back, you know, you pay £8,333 if you're a business in the UK. You know, in that equipment right now, as I film this video today, there's well over £7,500 worth of equipment. And you've only just paid $8,000 and a bit. That's the truth. So, yes, okay, of course, as time goes by, those prices will change. But realistically, if you believe crypto is going to be around, even in the short term, for just a couple of months, the amount of money that the machine will generate, you know, in that short period of time will more than offset any devaluation of the goods, of the assets, of the equipment. So for all the risks are there, yes, there is a chance that you could buy some stuff off me today and the whole industry could collapse tomorrow. But the reality of it is, if that was the case, there's a lot bigger problems in the world that are going to be happening than you losing a bit of money on a rig. I think, we'll be in a pretty crazy place if the whole market was to just die tomorrow. So the risks are there, but realistically, if you truly believe in crypto, as I'm sure a lot of people watching this do, ultimately, you only have a very small window, a very kind of small risk. Because if you believe crypto is going to be around and mining is going to be a part of that, you only need to be in this process for a fairly short period of time before you're able to kind of profit. I mean, imagine if you would have mined £1,000 worth of coins in January last year. We all know what happened last year. So if the market is to do anything like that again in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, okay, even if the price really falls, what if you're only earning, £300 or £400 a month, let's say, and you pay 130 quid for electric and you're making £300 or £400 a month? Well, that's not life-changing money, but even then it's enough to cover most people's mortgage or car payments, or, it really helps financially. But what happens in a year's time or 2 years' time when the market goes in the place we all believe it will do? That £400 is really going to be quite a lot of money, I truly believe. So it's one of those things. Everyone always goes, oh, I wish I would have got involved in crypto 5 years ago. On the back of my business cards, I have a little motto that simply says, today is 5 years ago in 5 years' time.
I love it. Amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Before we wrap up, I know you've touched on some of these during the call. Some other misconceptions about mining that you see out there that you think people should be aware of?
Yeah, so one, everybody seems to go, everyone's first question is, oh, your rigs are really powerful, are they? Okay, so how much mega hash are they mining? And immediately as people ask that, I automatically know they're talking about Ethereum. So a lot of your audience out there might go, okay, yeah, I understand that. And so what you need to get is that there's lots of different coins out there, and so many of the different coins, are built on different languages, and therefore they're programmed in different ways. So, Ethereum, for example, is programmed on Ethash. So when everyone says, oh, how many mega hash is your rig? They're asking for the speed of that card or that algorithm to mine Ethereum. Now, what people don't realize is that lots of the different coins are built on entirely different algorithms. So something like Bitcoin Gold or Zcash is based on an Equihash algorithm. So it's entirely different. So when people are trying to compare, oh, your rig does this many mega hash versus this rig that's half the price that does this many mega hash, what they fail to realize is these 1080 Ti's, in some instances, are 4 or 5 times more powerful at different algorithms than a card that's very good at Ethereum. So to put that in perspective, Ethereum, as I filmed this video today, is maybe about between the 15th to 23rd most profitable coin to mine using these machines. I'm not interested in Ethereum with these types of machines, because there's so many other coins out there that are vastly superior to mine. People often have these misconceptions of Ethereum mining, which were very valid 6 months ago, but honestly now the industry's moved on quite dramatically.
Interesting.
So it's very important, if people are looking at comparing machines, that they understand the algorithm of the coins they want to mine and comparing the speed of those algorithms and those cards. So for example, one 1080 Ti will do 750 sols on Equihash. An RX 580, which is the main card for using Ethereum, will only do maybe 310 sols on Equihash. So literally less than twice the power. Lara 2v2 is one of the most popular algorithms at the moment, based on coins such as Vergecoin or Monocoin, very good to mine at the moment. One RX 580 card, will do maybe 15 to 18, maybe 19 solutions, whereas a 1080 Ti will do 75. So there's a vast difference in algorithm performance, and a lot of people sometimes end up comparing apples to oranges, and that's why we as a company promote the 1080 Ti. Not only because it's the most powerful on the vast majority of algorithms, but because it's going to hold its resale value that much better. due to it being a very top-end gaming card. So you end up with a much more secure proposition that's much more flexible on what you can mine as well.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Awesome. Now, just one last question, and this is going to be $1 million question. It wouldn't be, a good conversation otherwise. It's been amazing so far anyway. Where do you see mining in a year from now?
A year from now, I'm not too sure. In a kind of 2 or 3 year period, it's probably a bit more interesting. There are lots and lots of new coins coming out every single day. I'm at the moment, as this video is going live, I'm now mining Bitcoin Private. It's that new fork of Zcoin Classic. That isn't on many of the exchanges right now. It's a bit of an underground coin. I'm mining loads of it before people really know about it and get their hands on it, which again is another advantage of GPU mining. You can mine these smaller niche coins, get your hands on loads, and then do very, very well indeed as those kind of hit the market in the future. So I'm mining lots of those. Now, the way I see the kind of future going is there's going to be more and more and more of these smaller coins. But what I really think is going to happen is a lot of the big companies that we know today are going to catch on to this decentralized power. So all these graphics cards here are extremely powerful bits of computer equipment. Now, a lot of people might be familiar with the film Avatar. Do you remember that very good graphic film that was, the most beautiful film? And I believe it took around 7 years to make that film. Every frame, was done so much detail. It just took so many manpower to do. A lot of the proportion of that time that was being built of that film was in rendering that film in video editing terms. So if any of you do a lot of videos on YouTube, you know that it takes a long time to render these videos. It takes a lot of power to do that. And also an awful lot of very expensive equipment. So where I see mining going is all these big companies such as Disney and Pixar tokenizing their power, their services. So when there's a new big Disney blockbuster film coming out, you might be able to help render that big new blockbuster movie and all the special effects and get rewarded in a bit of Pixar or Disney coin. Because it makes financial sense that those companies don't need to do that, because it then reduces the time of bringing that product to market. Why can't IBM bring out an IBM coin and it helps solve, complex AI algorithms for all the deep learning that they're working on? All this new AI super technology that's coming out, it requires a lot of graphical power. And it's computer graphics cards that do a lot of the AI rendering right now. So why not, if this infrastructure of network mining exists, why not utilize it? Because it's cheaper for the companies that want to do it because there's no upfront costs. So absolutely. I very much see the big companies that we know and love today moving into this industry and rewarding miners that have this equipment in the future as a way of decentralizing that power to help them get stuff done a lot quicker.
Wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Awesome, Josh. This was such an amazing conversation, and I know we could go on forever, but obviously.
No, absolutely. It's exciting, It's a really exciting thing.
How if people want to learn more about getting some mining hardware, how can they reach out to you?
So we're based in Manchester, and as I've said previously, we like to do things a bit differently. We're real people with a real office. I've got a real team of staff, and we love just to be that friendly face behind crypto, because I understand it can be really confusing. I understand it can be a bit new, a bit scary, and there's all these different terms and words. And if you're going to spend some good money on equipment, I get £10,000 is a lot of money. You could buy a car, but we're here to help you and to make that human factor a little bit more real. So if anybody wants to come and see us, we've obviously got a website, which is easycryptohunter.co.uk. We've also got our Facebook page, which is the same name, Easy Crypto Hunter. You can drop us a message on either the website or give us a call. Our number's on there as well. And we'd be more than happy to talk you through personally what your options are, or you can even come and see us in person. We like to do things the old school way, because we feel that kind of face-to-face, real business way of doing things is missing in this new cryptocurrency world. And we just like to be as helpful as we can.
Awesome. Very good. And I think you also mentioned there is a special offer if people contact you through the link that will be below this video. So I think they're getting free shipping or money off shipping. How does that work?
Yeah. So usually for shipping, the majority of our UK customers do typically come and pick stuff up themselves because you like to come and see us and do that. But we do ship within the UK and the world. So any customers that want shipping within the UK, we're prepared to offer to that free to anyone that uses your link below. And for those customers that are international, we're happy to be able to offer the same £100 discount to anyone who wants to ship that product internationally. So it'll be £100 off shipping, which will mean free shipping within the UK, or £100 off in the world, or subsequently, if you do want to come and pick up that rig in person and not pay the postage, we'll give you a £100 discount on the cost of the rig.
Well, hey, that's the cost of a good meal in itself, right?
Yeah,
that's there and then. Awesome, fantastic, Josh. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an amazing conversation. I think so many people on this video will have learned so much about mining, and everyone talks about Bitcoin mining, but you've said so many things about the different types of coins that can be mined, and it was also very interesting to go through the economics of how mining works. So with that said, thank you, Josh. It's been amazing talking to you. There will be a link below where you can get access to the discount if you want to get the hardware. Other than that, it's been a true pleasure. Thank you.
No problem. Take care, guys. Speak to you soon.
Bye, guys.